Hello everyone, I welcome you all as a part of this Redshift series. My name is Jatin Goel and I am a champion AWS authorized instructor. So before giving you an overview about this particular session of our Redshift series, let me introduce myself with few more things I want to share with all of you. So as you can see here, I'm holding different certifications in AWS. I'm having all three associate level certifications along with cloud practitioner, and I am a data analytics specialty certified. I'm having more than 5 years of experience working as a corporate trainer with 8 years of experience working as an IT expert in the IT industries. If you want to connect, you can scan this QR code and you will be redirected to my LinkedIn profile. Okay. So now it's a time to understand what we are going to cover in today's session. So today I'm going to help you out with the ETL from S3 to Redshift. So in the past sessions of our Redshift series, we had seen that how we can import the data to Redshift from DynamoDB and RDS. So this session I have planned specially for showing you how we can load the data from S3 to Redshift. Okay. But before that, let's have a quick overview what exactly we are going to cover as a part of the agenda. So I will give you an overview of Amazon Redshift. Then we will talk about Amazon S3. We will discuss what are the services we are going to use in this demo. And then finally, we have a demonstration to perform ETL from S3 to Redshift. Okay. So I have to define Redshift in a single line of statement. I can again say that Redshift is a fully managed petabyte scale data warehousing service. Okay. Data warehouse. Now, there are so many advantages which Redshift can give you specifically to reduce the burden with the administrative task. When you are using Redshift, you don't have to worry about the administrative task like as you were doing as a part of a traditional data warehousing setup. Okay. When we talk about S3, S3 is one of the widely used service in the industries. The reason behind that, in S3, you can store the data in its native format or raw format. And also S3 provides you a cost-effective storage option. Now, there is a very simple option like whenever we have to load the data from S3 bucket to Redshift, you can create a Redshift cluster. You can connect to a Redshift cluster using a query editor, and then you can issue a copy command from the S3 bucket to Redshift. But let's explore different flavors. Let's explore different ways by which we can copy the data from S3 to Redshift. And today I am going to show you that. Today we will see how we can transfer the data from S3 to Redshift using AWS Glue. Okay. So services which I am going to use in this demo will be Amazon S3, Amazon Redshift, and AWS Glue. And in the background, I am going to use IAM identity and access management. So I already have for identity and access management. I'm also going to use a service called AWS Okay. And I will also walk you through for the VPC endpoint. So let me start with the demo. So I'm taking you to my management console. Okay. So you all know, like I have already opened different tabs for different set of services I am going to refer. And if you want to know more about Amazon Redshift, you can always refer this user guide for Amazon Redshift. So in this user guide, you can see that we have a system overview. We have some best practices, tutorials, working with automatic table optimization, a lot of things. So you can see like very in a well-defined manner, they have defined it. Let's say system overview. Are you a first-time Redshift user? Are you a database developer? What are the prerequisite system and architecture overview? So you can go through that. Okay. Now, if you have a feature account, I would suggest you to explore this Amazon Redshift free trial. Okay. Because like if you will explore this, you will be able to have this offering if you want to practice Amazon Redshift as a part of this free trial. Okay. So let me go to Redshift. This is my Redshift dashboard. The first thing I am going to do, I am going to create a Redshift cluster. I have already chosen a region that is Mumbai. So this is a geographical location. I will expand these three lines and I will go to clusters. In the clusters, I am going to create a cluster. Let's click on create cluster. And then let's go to once you click on create cluster, we're going to provide the details for Redshift cluster. Okay. So I'm going to provide the cluster identifier. Let me give a name. Let's say Redshift cluster demo. So I'm not getting a free trial option because my free trial option has already been over. But if you are starting as a part of an AWS, or if you have recently created a feature account, you can check that you will have a free trial option. Okay. Now you have the another thing, that is you have to choose the size of the cluster. So either you will choose, or either you can get some recommendations from AWS. So I have chosen this particular option. I will choose. Let me show you this one too. If I will select help me choose option, I can see I can get some recommendations from AWS. Let's go back. I'm choosing this one. And here I have chosen the node type as DC2.large and number of nodes as 1. From here you can see different type of nodes, but I am choosing this one. If I will scroll down further, if you want to load some sample data, you can do that. Okay. I'm not doing it for my demonstration. And I am setting the password. Okay. You can set the username. If you want to change it, I'm keeping it as it is, which is AWS user, and I have set a password. I will further scroll down, and with all other default options, I am going to create a cluster. Okay. So my cluster creation will be started, and soon the state of my cluster will be changed to available. Currently, you can have the status is creating, and after some time, it will be in the available state. So what we can do in the meantime, we can create a S3 bucket, which we are going to use as a part of this particular demonstration. Okay. Before that, let me quickly clean some S3 bucket in my account. Let me do that very quickly. Why I'm doing this? Because I can see that I have already reached the limit as 100, and I will show you something for your knowledge. You can also use some scripts if you have to delete the S3 bucket, but ensure that your S3 bucket should be empty before you're planning to delete it. Let's delete this. So I'm deleting this bucket. And you can also read the info section. From here, you can read the info section. Once the bucket will be deleted, I will get my S3 page back. And you can have the info from here. Let me show you. Buckets are containers for objects stored in a memory. You can store any number of objects in a bucket and can have up to 100 buckets in your account. Okay. If you want to increase the limit, increase the count, you can raise a request to the service quotas console. And you can get these service quotas from this particular drop down. If you'll expand this drop down, from here you can see the service quotas. Okay, just for I am creating a bucket, so I'll go here. You have to remember that whenever you are creating a bucket, the bucket namespace should be globally unique. So you have to give a bucket name which is globally unique here. So I'm giving a bucket, let's say demo S3 glue Redshift. Okay. And to make it more unique, I'm appending today's date. Let me do that. Okay. Never ever add your personal information as a part of this bucket namespace, as it is globally unique. Again, I'll repeat. Okay. So I will go here and I will say create bucket. My bucket got created. Okay. Next thing which I want to show you, always ensure as a part of this particular demonstration, I am going to use AWS Glue. Okay. So AWS Glue, as a part of your VPC, you should have endpoints created. So I am going to use a default VPC as a part of this particular demo, and I have already created S3 endpoint for this VPC. You can create the endpoint by clicking on create endpoint, and you can follow the steps. Just provide a name. I'll not create the new one. I'll just show you. Let's say my endpoint. And here you can select a service. Let me check that. Let's say gateway endpoint. In a VPC, you can select the VPC for which you want to create an endpoint. So if you want to create an endpoint for your default VPC, you can select that from the drop down. You will always have to update the route tables, and then you can manage the policies. Okay. So this is how you can create the endpoint if you don't have already, but this will be required. Otherwise, you will be landed into the error situation. So I already have an endpoint present as a part of my default VPC. Okay. Next thing which I am going to use, I will need a role for my glue. So I will go here in the IAM dashboard and let me sort it on the basis of creation time. Okay. So let's check that. I will use this particular ETL. This is a role I have already created. And if you will go here, I have attached a permission called administrator access. If you want to customize the permissions, what you can do, you can check this. AWS Glue IAM role. So you can check this. Create an IAM role for AWS Glue. This documentation you can always in order to understand if you want to fine grain the permissions. So as per your use case, you can fine grain the permission which you are attaching to your IAM role. Okay. So create a custom, and in the custom policy, you can provide the permissions you are looking for. So you can explore this. Okay. And all. Okay. So create an IAM policy for the AWS Glue service. You can see what this is which we are providing, and you can check that. Okay. So let me go back. Let's quickly check the status of a Redshift cluster. You can refresh this and you can see my cluster is in available state. The next thing I will do, I will connect to my Redshift cluster very quickly and I will create a table. So I am going to create an employee table as a part of my Redshift cluster. Let's do that. This is a table I will create once my Redshift cluster will be connected via query editor, but I will not insert any data into this table. Okay, because what's my goal? My goal is I want to insert the data from AWS Glue to Redshift. Okay. So basically, this AWS Glue I'm using for the ETL. My data source will be S3. My data target will be Redshift. And this AWS Glue is acting for the ETL. Okay. Let me execute this query. And when I will run this, I can see a table got created. If you will do a select query, currently you will see we didn't have any records. Okay. Now I have a file with me that is employee.csv file. This file I am going to add into my S3 bucket, my data source. So I have my Redshift cluster ready completely, and also a file in my S3 bucket. So I will quickly open my S3 bucket with the file here. So you can click on it. So either you can browse for the file or either you can do a drag and drop. Okay. Let me drag this file. So my data source is ready. My data target, which is a Redshift cluster, that is ready. That is also having a table, but there is no records inside the table. Now, what's the next step? The next step is let's create the connections in AWS Glue for S3 and Redshift, and then we are going to design an ETL job. Okay. Let's go here. This dashboard. If you want to read about Glue, you can always navigate to this page and see that it's a serverless data integration service. Move data sets of nearly any size and prepare them for analytics and machine learning. And you can say this is a service under the category data lakes and analytics. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do, I am going to create a connection for my Redshift. So I'll go to data connections. And here I will create a connection for my Redshift cluster. I am going to use here at the time of creating a temporary table in AWS Glue. Okay. Also, this connection will be useful when you write the ETL jobs. Okay. So scroll down, go to create connection. And here in the create connection dashboard, let me give a name. Let's say Redshift connection. My connection type will be Amazon Redshift. I'm keeping this option as I'm not checking that require SSL connection. I will check for the instances. I have this Redshift cluster. This is my database name. So this is a default database. You can see, like when you connect to a Redshift cluster, if you'll open this, this is a default database. Let me provide the password. And let's say create connection. The connection got created. Now the next task which I have to do, I have to create temporary tables. Okay. So for that, the first thing I will do, I will create databases. So I am navigating back to my AWS Glue in this particular console to be loaded. And then I am going to create two databases, one for S3 and one for Redshift. And finally, we will create a table. Okay, we'll create a table using crawler, one for Redshift and one for S3. So those are the temporary tables, which basically defines the table definition or schema, or that basically crawls the data present into our source and target. And on the basis of that, it defines the schema. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. Let's go to databases. Let's create two databases, one for S3 and another one we will create for Redshift. Okay, I'm here and I'm saying S3 DB, and the another one is Redshift DB. Okay, and the next thing which we are going to do, we are going to create a table using crawlers. So let's open crawlers. And we'll create. So crawlers are basically one of the components of AWS. And what crawler does, they automatically crawls the data stores in order to identify the schemas. Okay, so you can read. It connects to a data store, progresses through a prioritized list of classifiers to determine the schema for your data, and then creates metadata table in your data catalog. This is my data catalog. Let's create a crawler. Crawler. Okay. Let's say S3 crawler. Okay. I'll go here. I have to add a data source. So I'll have to browse for the S3 bucket. You can check the bucket you have created. This is the name of a bucket. Let me select that. You can see crawl all subfolders. Okay. And then you can say add S3 as a data source. Go to next. You have to choose an IAM role. So I'm going to use the one which I had shown you. And finally, I am going to choose a target database. So I will choose S3DB as my target database. And I will say next here. So you can review the settings and you can say create crawler. Okay. Now I am running the crawler. You can see the status here. In the meantime, this crawler is getting executed. Let me create one for Redshift. Okay. So I'll go here. I'll give it as a name, Redshift crawler. Let's scroll down further. Again, I'll go to next. This time I'm going to add a data source over JDBC connection. My connection is Redshift. And here I have to give a path. So how the path I can give, you can just read it. They have also mentioned you the syntax. You have to give a database name, then schema name, and then table name. So my database name is dev, my schema is public, and my table is employee. You can also verify from here. Dev, then you have public as your schema name, and finally in tables you have employee as a table. Okay. Add a JDBC data source. Go to next. You can provide a role again. Let me do that. I will go to next again. I'll choose a database, which is Redshift DB. I can say create crawler. Okay. And say run crawler. So we'll go here and we the status of a. I can see one table got created as a part of my S3 crawler. I can just check that, what that table is. I'll go here. I will refresh this. And if I will open this table, I can see the schema definition. This is a schema definition. If you will see this CSV file, there are three columns, 1 to 3. So you can see column 0 is of type big int and column 1 and 2 is of type string. Okay. So by crawling the folders, by crawling the data store, it has identified the schema. It has identified the definition and create a metadata table as a part of your catalog. Okay. So next thing is we'll have to wait for another table to be created. So you can check the status of your crawler. And once the table will be created, we'll also see the schema for the Redshift table. Okay. Now, one thing which you can do here, like once you have the tables ready with you, you can create an ETL job. As a part of that ETL job, you can provide what will be your data source, what will be your target, and do you want to apply any transformations? And later you can run that job. But let's make this demonstration more interesting. So instead of running the ETL job manually, let's schedule that job. How to do that, I will guide you. Okay. So till the time this Redshift crawler is running, let me just walk you through two more services which I am going to use here. One is CloudWatch and another is Lambda, as I told you. So I have two new dashboards, one for so I am going to create a CloudWatch rule. What does that CloudWatch rule will do? That CloudWatch rule will be set and it will trigger a Lambda. Lambda will run my job. Let's do that. So let me open this piece of code. This is a rule which I am going to pass it on. Okay. Let me change the name here. My crawler name is this. Okay, this is my crawler name. You can see it. I have taken from here. CloudWatch, I am going to use CloudWatch event pitch rule. Okay. This page is if you have a table for Redshift, we can see this table got created. Okay. So let's quickly go here. If I will refresh this, we can see there is one more table. And if you will open this, you can see the schemas. these are the schemas, the data type. Okay, so now the thing is that, like, when we will create a job, we'll have to do a mapping. Why mapping? Because you can see in the previous table they have taken the column name as call 0, 1 and 2, so we'll have to do a mapping here. Okay, we'll do that. Before that, let's quickly create a CloudWatch rule. Okay, so I'm going to create a CloudWatch rule here, and I will set my destination as lambda. I am going to trigger a lambda function as a part of my CloudWatch rule. And as I mentioned, what this CloudWatch rule is going to do, it will basically see the state all. If the state change will be, it will trigger the lambda. Okay, that's what it will do. Let me refresh it one more time. This is a console for my CloudWatch. Soon it will be loaded in front of you. And I will also open Lambda dashboard. Let me open that. Okay. Till the time it is getting loaded, let's do one thing. Let's create our job. So let's create a job in the AWS queue, an ETL job. Okay. If you want me to explain it from the architecture perspective, let me do it very quick. Let's say we have S3 bucket. Okay. S3 bucket is acting as a data source. We have AWS and we have Redshift. So what is happening? We have created this particular architecture till now. I've created the connections from S3 to Glue and from Glue to Redshift. This Glue is acting as a ETL engine. Okay. Now what we are doing, we have created a CloudWatch rule. Okay. Without this rule will track the state of crawler. Okay. And on the basis of it's going to call will do this lambda function will execute job, and when the job will be executed, the data flow will be there. The data will be transferred, okay, to Amazon Redshift. So that's what we are going to implement. So till now we have a S3 bucket, we have the connections ready in AWS Glue, we have our Redshift cluster ready. So we have to create a rule in the CloudWatch. We have to integrate that with a Lambda function, and then we have to create a job which will be triggered by our Lambda function. Let's do that. I'll go back, and so this is my, and this one is my Clue dashboard. Okay. My source is Amazon S3. My target is Amazon Redshift. Okay. Either you can choose this one, create a graph. That option. And then I add my source, my target, and action. Okay. So my source will be S3. Let me choose that. So in the glue, when you create a job, these are known as nodes. Okay. Let me just provide the data catalog table. So in the S3 source type, I'm choosing this. This is my database. Let me choose a table. This is my table, employee underscore CSV. I have a source node. Now I have to do a mapping. So I will choose this change schema in the action. What mapping I have to do? I have to do a mapping like call 0 will be mapped to ID, call 1 will be mapped to name, and call 2 will be mapped to location. This thing I'll have to do. Okay. Let's do that. If you want, you can always check the schema, name, ID, location. Okay. So I'm mapping that with name, ID, and location. I've done that. Okay. So I have also updated the information for this particular node. Let me add a target. My target will be Amazon Redshift. Choose a database, which is Redshift DB. I can further choose a table, some handling of new records. How you want to do? I want to perform the insert only operation, so I'm choosing insert only. Let's save this. I have saved it, and I'll go to job details, and let me provide few things. So I'm providing a job name. So I'm giving a job name as test job. You can give any name of your choice, any meaningful name you can give. Let me do that. In the IAM role, I will select ETL, the one which I had used. Okay. And it was so what happens when you use this AWS Glue Studio as a part of the job you are creating, it will append a script in the background. If you want, that's up to you. So for your knowledge, I'll show you that script. Okay. Let me give a name. Let's say I'm saying test job.py. Okay. After applying all these values, I'm saving this particular ETL job. I am not running this job. This job will be run by my Lambda function. Okay. So you can run this manually. When you will run this manually, on successful completion of this job, you can check the status in your Redshift cluster. That's what you can do. But as I told you, this job will be triggered with the help of my Lambda function. Okay. So let's save this. It is updating the job. The job got successfully saved. If this is a script which got generated in the background, and you can see script generated for node Amazon S3, script generated for node change schema, and script generated for Amazon Redshift. So if you know how to write a PySpark script, you can read this. You can also download it. Okay, let's quickly go to Lambda, and you can give a name to a Lambda function. Let me give a name S3 Glue Redshift trigger function, drop trigger function. Any name you can keep. And we'll go to runtime I'm choosing the runtime as Python 3.8. Let me choose that. Finally, in the permissions, I'll go to default execution role. I'll use an IAM role. Let me provide a role here. I'm going to use the same role because I have established a trust relationship for AWS Glue and Lambda. Okay. And let's get a function. So I have this piece of code which I am going to use for my Lambda function. Okay. So all I'll have to do, I have to change the name of the job. My job name is test job. Okay. I'll walk you through with this code. So I'll go here and I am going to add this code as a part of my Lambda console. Okay. So you know that either you can upload the code from the local machine, you can have the code from a Lambda console. Okay. So that you can do. Let me just provide the code here and I'm deploying the changes. Okay. You can quickly, if you want, you can just see the test job. This is the name of a job. And currently, if you'll go to runs, there is no recent job run. Okay. So you can see this. I'm deploying the changes and let's check our CloudWatch dashboard. So this is the CloudWatch dashboard. But I have to do, I have to create rules. So I'll go to rules here, and it will take me to the CloudWatch event bridge page where I am going to create a rule for this particular demonstration. So you can see it has fully uploaded the function code which you have provided. And let's wait for it. So the create my Lambda function when there will be a change. You can read as a part of the rule. I am having crawler state change. The source is aws.clue. Crawler name is S3 crawler, and when the state will be succeeded, this function will be triggered, and this function will execute a job. You can see that this function is going to trigger your job. I have created a client for Glue. I have defined my Glue job name, and you can see I'm calling the start job run method. Okay, I'm passing the Glue job name. That's what I'm doing. Let's quickly create a rule now. Let's say create. I can provide a rule name. Let's say S3 ETL Redshift. Okay, this is a rule name I'm providing. I'm choosing rule with an event pattern. You can the schedule to make this a rule that is triggered regularly on the schedule you specify. Okay, or you can use the matching occurs. Okay, so I have to trigger this rule based on the event. So I'm going to choose AWS events or event bridge partner event. So you can provide a sample event here if you want, that is optional. Let me choose a service. And here I'm choosing the event type. I'm saying Glue crawler state change. It is automatically appending the code. So this is the same code I have written. Okay. The only thing is I have mentioned a crawler name also. Okay. So let me take this one and I'm saying added pattern. I'm pasting this code here and my this rule to be triggered on a specific crawler state change. My target will be service. I'm selecting Lambda this is the function name. Let's provide the code. your function name very quickly. You can choose. Let's see that. This is the function I have created. I'll go to next. If you want, you can provide a tag, review, and create a room. Okay, so everything is ready now. So what is the last step I am going to do? I will run the crawl and the caller will be succeeded. This lambda will be triggered and here I will recent job run. Let's do that. Let's go to crawler very quickly. And from here, you can run this S3 crawler. Let's run that. Okay. The state is running. We'll wait for the state change to be succeeded. And then we will see the things. Okay. So let's wait for a minute or two. So this was a last run. I'm talking about this state. One more thing, if you will refresh this, you can back trigger got a rule. That is a trigger, which will be added here as a part of my Lambda console. Let's check the status. And we'll see our Lambda console. The trigger got added. See, this is a trigger got added. So this trigger got added at the time of when I had created the event rule and I had chosen the destination as Lambda. Okay. If you want, you can also watch. You can go to monitor. You can view the logs in CloudWatch. Watch as a part you out with the printer statements you are mentioning as a part of a Lambda function, or also to track if something will be wrong. Okay, in your Lambda. You can overall log. Check the status of my job. The state is ready now. The state of my crawlers will be ready. And let me check the job status. You can see the job is getting running. So I had not clicked on run button. This is running as a part of a trigger. Okay. So what happened when your crawler state changed to succeeded? That crawler initiated a rule. That rule is triggering a Lambda function. This Lambda function has triggered, and we will be able to see the records in the state system. If you will go here, we will refresh this. Let's check. We got, so this query is getting executed. So let's start from employee. And soon we will see the records in our Redshift table. Let's wait for that. You can run this query again. Let me just execute one more time. You can see the records. Can you see that? These are the records present. So we have of the data from S3 bucket to Redshift using AWS glue. And using triggered our job when the state of the glue crawler will be changed. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you as a part of this particular session in our series of Redshift. Okay, we will come back with more such interesting sessions on Redshift. Okay, so this is all for today. Thank you very much for being a part of this particular session, and all the best, everyone. Bye bye, and thank you very much for watching this session.